Okay. Hi, this is Harish here. Welcome to DB2 LUW HADR tutorial part 8. In this tutorial, the tip that I want to provide is how the load index rebuild. Like when you use the load utility, there is an option like indexing mode you can specify as rebuild. It does not respect the log index build DB CFG setting or the table attribute. The scripts and the data files that I'm using are freely available for download at db2luwacademy.blogspot.in. Please subscribe to my channel youtube.com/db2luwacademy. My email db2academy@gmail.com. This slide talks about the problem scenario and the tip or the solution that I wanted to give. The problem scenario is we want to demonstrate how this load index rebuild does not consider the log index build attribute. The log index build, you can set it on, and once you set it on, you can set it basically at two levels. One is the DB CFG level and another one is at the table level too. You can set it like a table attribute as well. And when you set it on, it will log very extensively. Whenever there is an index log records that are getting generated, it will log extensively. So like the activities like create index, reorganizing the indexes, there will be detailed logging that will be done, and hence it is required, like it is mostly suggested, it may not be required or something, but it's mostly suggested to have in a HADR scenario to have this log index build on. And the only good thing about it is like if there is some kind of a rebuild index that is happening, or if there are indexes are getting updated on the primary, they will get immediately updated on the standby as well. So you don't really need a separate you don't need a separate rebuilding of indexes during the takeover phase or the crash recovery phase. So that is what is the benefit of setting this log index build. And obviously there is no good or bad thing here. So everything, there is a good thing and a bad thing. So the only thing is there is a lot of transactional log space consumption. Like this index, the amount of information that is getting logged in the index recreation process or the reorganization process is tremendous. Like it's huge, and there will be a lot of transactional log space consumption because of that. Now the tip or solution that I wanted to provide you is like you can use the load utility to rebuild the indexers on those tables. That way it can save a lot of transactional log space, because the load utility with the indexing mode option like index rebuild, it will not consider the setting log index build, and it will not do heavy logging. And if you have seen my previous video, all those log records for the index log records or whatever information that is required to rebuild the index is just bundled along within that load utility itself, the load copy image itself. So that way there is the requirement for a heavy transactional log space is not there when you use this load index rebuild option. So the load replay on the standby will apply the index changes, which is like what I was telling. So so consider setting, and also the log index build setting is available at both table level also and at the DB CFG level also. So even if you cannot set this log index build, you don't want to take that overhead for the entire database, you can even specifically set on and off, for these tables give me this log index build on, for these tables set this log index build off. So you can use that way also. And even if you use it that way, still, even if you have the log index build set at the table level or at the DB CFG level, the load utility with the index rebuild option will not consider that setting. So that is what I wanted to provide you as a tip in this tutorial. And obviously there is no good or bad thing, or this is the correct way to do, or that is an incorrect way to do. There is nothing like that. So it all depends on the situation and how the primary needs to be with the standby, like how close it should be, because if you run this kind of a thing for a brief moment of time, your primary will not be your standby will not be having those indexes, because they will be marked as invalid or something, right? So if you have this setting off, that is going to happen. So okay, so without any further delay, let's quickly get into some examples. So here I am connecting to the database tutor DB, and it's already a recoverable database, and I have updated the log second to 50 so that there is sufficient log space. And in another terminal I have switched on the UOW one, so I want to monitor the UOW log space used for each and every transaction. And I'm just looking at the space, so that I can show you. Okay, here I have connected to the database, and here you can see that the application handles and their transaction sizes. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll create a table staff, and I'll set this log index build attribute on for the table staff, and there is resrc table. I'll set it off, and I'll create 4 indexes, idx 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 are in the staff table, 3 and 4 are in the resrc table. And once that is done, so let's just quickly do that, and let's just, it's going to take some time. Okay, okay, now currently there is no data, so everything is like super fast. So nothing happened really, like, you know, the indexes were not that, the index object got created, but there is no table, right? So so that's why it's so, there is no data in the table, so that's why it's so fast. So now let us load the data, like 3 million rows I am loading, and I'm saying copy s so that the image will be created, and the indexing mode is rebuild. So indexing mode is rebuild, and I'm committing the transaction. And once I do that, once I start that activity in one window, okay, and I'll also go and look at the transactional log space in the other one, you know. So let's look at that. You can look at, so 11 KB, it is taking about, yeah, 11 KB. The application handle is 7, and it is still taking only 11 KB. That's really like fairly less amount of thing when you consider the, yeah, the load utility is not doing much of an extensive logging. So that's what I wanted to show you. So yeah, even though the log index build attribute is on, okay, so okay, let's check it out. Yeah, the staff, so we are loading into the staff table, and staff table has the log index build on. So but it is not doing extensive logging, so you can see that 15 KB, 17 KB, that's the maximum, 17 KB I guess. Yep, it's done. So the maximum log it took was like 17 KB, not really much, you know. So okay, so let me go back here. Okay, so again it got reset to 0, you can see that. What I'll do now is I'll do the same thing. So I'm going to load again the data, but this time I'm going to load on a table which is having the attribute, this is like loading on resrc table, and the resrc table has the log index build off, you know. So yeah, even then it should be no different. So let us check that out. Okay, so it is running now, so you can check that. So same 11 KB, so maybe it might go to 15 or 17 KB the same way, you know. Okay, so let's just do that and check it up. Okay, it's running. So the log index build setting is not obeyed by the load utility, which is doing the rebuilding of the indexes. So that is the tip, that is the thing. Okay, and let's check it out. And it's 3 million records, so it's not a very powerful laptop, so it's going to take some time. So let's wait for that. Okay, yeah, done. So 17 KB, same. So and let's do a commit, and let's see. Yeah, the space again gone back to 0. And I'll do one more thing. So what I'm going to do is, so we have loaded, then I'll rearg the indexes of the table resrc. So resrc is with log index build off, so obviously it will, so since the log index build is off, it should not take more of space, you know. So let me just run those two things and check how things are. So let me kick off that, and let me go back here and run the same thing again. It's pretty much taking up nothing. So okay, maybe the rearg, you know, like there is nothing to rearg over there, you know. The rearg command will rearg only, it depends on the level of disorganization. Now the create index is running, let's see. Okay, so 38, okay, 8 MB I think it is, no, yeah, 8 MB, 12 MB. So it took about, okay, let me check, okay, 1.2 MB, so this much kilobytes and this much megabytes, so it took about 1.2 MB, this much, yeah, it took about 1.2 MB, and because it is not doing extensive logging, you see, so it's really less, you know, so it's not extensive logging because the attribute is off actually at the table level. So we'll run the same command again, check whether it is coming back to 0. It did not come back to 0, so I'm going to say list tables or something like that. Okay, just initiate a transaction. Yeah, it came back to 0. And what I'm going to do now is run the rearg command on the staff table, and the staff table has the log index build on, so you should be able to see some really huge activities, like huge transactional log space consumption on this, you know. So that is what I'm going to check it now. Okay, so you can see that rearg is running. It took about, wow, look at that, 59, I think it's 27 MB, right? Yeah, it's taking 27 MB. That's a high number. 32 MB. I mean, you just saw how the other table, it took only like 1.2 MB or roughly 1.2 MB. Now it is taking 55 MB of, even for the rearg, and the index, it did not get created, but even for the rearg it took about 55 MB. So it's saying the index is already there. I don't know why, but okay, so okay, but that's fine. Even if the index object is, that's not our concentration right now. So we wanted to look on the log space consumption. So 55 MB, that's the amount it created. Okay, so oh, okay, so okay, we should have said staff like that. Yeah, now the index will get created, and you could see again it is going up, you know. Even the create index is taking 10 MB now, 19 MB, 23 MB. So even the create index is shooting up, you know. So that's like the problem. Okay, so 28 MB. So it took, so create index alone it took 28 MB, and the rearg index took 55 MB. So that's the amount of logging that is done when you do the rearg index. So that's the thing. So that's why sometimes, you know, the load utility and do the rebuild of the indexes is sometimes helpful. So that's the tip that I wanted to provide you in this video tutorial. Hope this information was useful to you. See you in the next video tutorial. Until then, bye bye, and please subscribe to my channel DB2LUW Academy in youtube.com. See you, bye bye.